Live fitter and longer with the Fitzness Show, hosted by fitness expert, author, and TV personality Fitz Kohler. She'll tell you why diets are dumb, supplements are snake oil, and the truth about how you can earn a lean, hard, pain-free, and athletic body. Now for our favorite bossy blonde, Fitz Kohler.
Hi team, I'm Fitz Kohler, your fitness expert and very noisy race announcer from Fitzness.com, and welcome to the Fitzness Show. I'm going to get started. I've got a great interview today I'm really excited about, but before I do that, two quick notes. First of all, I want to send my love and regards to the family of Alberto Pirosset. He's one of my favorite runners from California, record breaker as the barefoot runner, the man who ran over 200 marathons barefoot. He was a sweetheart and a gentleman and an extraordinary athlete. And I absolutely loved seeing his face at my start and finish line. So I will miss him very much. For everyone else who misses him, I'm sending you my love. It's a big loss for the running industry and for humanity in general. What a great guy. So Alberto, love you so much. And then also a reminder, because I'm seeing people get back to life and hearing still some difficult stories, is folks, if you have not rescheduled all the annual exams that were canceled during the COVID shutdown, it's time. Get off your fanny, make the appointment, get your colonoscopy and your mammogram and your pap smear and your eyes checked and all of the things. Just because people stop doing cancer screenings does not mean cancer discontinued appearing in our body. So it's time. Get up, get moving, do what's right for you. And I expect you all to live very well and very long. Okay, now we get moving with my guest. His name is Gene Dykes. They call him the world's fastest 70-year-old. He's a little bit beyond that now, but he's an extraordinary athlete and truly showing that age is just a number. And if you work hard and you put in the effort, yeah, you don't really have to get old. You get the privilege of tacking years onto your life, but you can still pursue athletic adventure and extraordinary health, no matter how old you are. So I love this guy. He's a real sweetheart too. So I'm going to welcome Mr. Gene Dykes. Hi, Gene.
Hi there. Good to see you.
I'm so happy to have you back. You just got back from Antarctica.
Yeah, it's, one of those bucket list trips we always wanted to take. And it was amazing. Some people went down to see penguins, some seals, whales. I went down to see ice, and boy, did I see a lot of it.
Do you have the outfits? I mean, you're from Philadelphia, so you probably do have the proper wardrobe for Antarctica. It's quite similar in temperature, right?
Yeah, we took down everything but the kitchen sink to wear down there. And, but usually it was just about freezing. I mean, it's summer down there, and it was usually, we were probably overdressed most of the time.
Wow, that sounds like a very fun time, and just another exhibit A of who you are. You're a guy who goes to Antarctica because it's on your bucket list. So many people think of just, going across our own country, and they never do. So a man of action for sure. So before we get started, Gene, talking about your extraordinary running career and all of your accomplishments, I want to ask a few get to know you questions because I think they're very interesting. Sometimes we do it at the end of the show. Today, I want to do them at the beginning. So I'm going to start with, who was your first Hollywood crush?
My first Hollywood crush. Wow. I mean, I adored movies when I was, 4 or 5 years old. I don't think we want to go back that far because it would probably be Bugs Bunny or something. But let's see. No, I think so. We got to talk about high school area, right? Can we come back to that?
No, we're not. We're going to stay away. Who was your first crush? So I can go back to, I think 5 years old for me was John Travolta. Do you have any sort of, I don't know, Hollywood crush?
Oh boy, I'm trying to think. Gee, I didn't, discover girls until I was like 16 or something. So it was, it would probably have had to wait till then. Let's see. Gee, I don't know. I might have to go with Jodie Foster because she was just so intelligent and smart, and I always enjoyed her in every movie I saw.
I love that. That's a great answer. Jody's, you're right, very talented and beautiful as well. And
I think she ran a marathon too.
did she?
I might have. I know she ran.
I'll have to check into that. Her and
Mhm.
Oprah are running friends. And then if you're watching, feel free to use the comment section to say hello, ask questions. We have Mario Zuniga saying good morning. Hi, Mario. Good to see you. All right. So Hollywood Crush, Jodie Foster. What's your favorite book?
My favorite book. Well, if we go way back when, I remember reading The Robe about three or four times, which would be a funny choice since now I'm an atheist, but it was just such a, powerful book to me back then. Since then, I guess most of my spare time reading is science and science fiction, the occasional thriller. I'd say the book that really thought was just so much fun was Orson Scott's Cards, the Ender's Game. He really writes so you get into the head of the people, and he writes so interestingly about the thoughts of people, and his science fiction isn't bad either, but I'd say he does more like character studies in a science fiction setting than hard science fiction.
Okay. And then what about your favorite movie?
Oh, I'm actually keeping a list of those. I've from way back when, we got to go with Ben-Hur.
Okay.
A lot of people groan about that, but all-time Academy Award winner.
Right. Big deal movie.
Yeah. I see Groundhog Day the most often, I guess, every year.
Really?
I could just watch it again and again and again.
That's hilarious. I do like that movie. That's a fun one. Groundhog.
One of the most fun time I've had in a movie was, I can't remember, 5 or 6 years ago. It was the Argentinian entry for Best Picture. It was called Wild Tales. And if you come out of a movie theater and, everybody's a stranger, right? People came out of this theater and they were all just saying, can you believe what we just saw?
Okay.
It was amazing. It's 6 short stories all linked up by a common theme, which is life starts normally and then it goes completely off the rails, and you really were beginning to try and guess at the beginning of each segment, where is this one going to go? And amazing piece of filmmaking.
I love that. I always get great suggestions doing these interviews. All right, Gene, so are you a salty or a sweet guy?
Oh boy. Well, I think on my gravestone, they're going to write the epitaph, needs more salt.
More salt, okay.
Because that's what I get in a restaurant. And it's the trend these days. They don't give you salt shakers. And then I get in the middle of the meal and realize I need salt, and you have to flag down a waiter. It's really annoying. So I guess I'm salt guy, but you can't beat salt and sweet together.
No, you're right. You're right. That is salted caramel stuff is my new kick. I really enjoy that. Now, I ran only one marathon. I've run tons of races of shorter and different distances, but during Boston, what I asked for people to bring me on the side of the road was potato chips. Have you ever had potato chip deliveries during a race?
Oh, not potato chips. I was kind of famous for a while that I would scout the course the day ahead and plant Coke bottles here and there. And then I would pick them up off the side of the road during the race because it gave you a little power surge. It kind of quelled nausea. Caffeine and the sugar, both were helps. I've since graduated to a different fuel for marathons, but that's what I was famous for back when.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that as well. And then final starter question. What's your worst habit, Gene?
My worst habit? Oh, probably procrastination. I mean, I just, nothing's worth doing that, you can't put off for another day, I suppose. And Christmas shopping, I haven't even begun to think about it yet.
Well, right. You've got like 4 days left.
Yeah,
Gene. Come on. Way ahead of schedule.
Imagine what all the anxiety is about. So, I generally put things off until the very last second.
Except for your training.
Well, I just, whatever my coach tells me, I do. It's sort of out of my control there. I just cede all control to my coach.
I love it. So, Gene, what are your most significant titles? So we have the world's fastest 70-year-old, but what are the accomplishments that mean the most to you?
Well, I sort of picked up I keep saying, you run one good race and all of a sudden everybody knows your name.
Right.
And, but it took a long time to get to that point. I certainly was not an overnight success. Every year I tried to get a little better. And, but I'm hoping that I'll be known as that old guy, man, he can still do 100-mile races. That's what I'd would hope for, even more than setting marathon records.
Okay, so longevity. So interestingly enough, Gene, and you ran 3 of my races in 2019 that I announced. So you ran Big Sur, you ran Los Angeles, and Philadelphia. And you're one of the people, when I'm working or I'm partnered with Rudy Novotny and we're announcing races together, we're looking for the winners, right? And then we're looking for our friends. And we have oodles and oodles of friends that we really want to welcome, especially, but you're the guy. You're the one when you come through, because you come through laced between 28-year-olds and 38-year-olds that blow your mind. And we're gushing over all of their athletic talent and their speed. And then boom, oh my God, there's Gene Dykes. And we fan out, Rudy and I are smacking each other. Look. And then, we look at the name, we look at your age, and we just can't fathom how you do what you do. So you are actually the big deal. I'm sure unless Des or Meb were running our race, we really don't fan out over anybody. But when we see you, we lose it. So you definitely have conquered something special within the running industry. Now, let's go way back. Were you an athletic kid?
Oh yeah, I've always been into sports. All through high school and college, I always would try and enter everything I could. Intramurals, I did them all in college. I can't swim a lick, and I was so annoyed one day that none of the swimmers in my house would go to the event. I said, well, I'll go do it. I had never swum the backstroke in my life, and so we needed somebody in the backstroke. I made it. By the time I made it to the end of the pool, everybody had, gone back and finished at the other end. And I turned around, kept going, and I just started sinking. I think everybody jumped in and pulled me out. But, I'm determined to try anything.
And were those I hate to say the basic sports, but football, baseball, basketball, whatever was offered type thing?
Yeah, I'd play football and baseball in my backyard a lot. Basketball, I was never good at. I could shoot real well, but that doesn't get you anywhere in a pickup game. So,
right.
So basketball was never high up there. But I grew up golfing and bowling an awful lot. Those have been my lifetime sports. Started bowling when I was 5 years old and golfing when I was 7. And so those were always the mainstays. But I love the team sports.
So that's interesting because golfing and bowling are just about as far as you can get from running really far as it goes in sport, right?
Almost. There's this new popular, running golf where they combine this time it takes you to play and your score, and of course guys can go out there and run both faster than I can and play golf way better than I can. So it's nothing I could compete at. But maybe one day I'll find somebody who has an age group category.
I was just going to say, if there's an age grouper, you're going to destroy everybody.
There's so many races that I'd love to do, but the really odd races, the participation isn't high enough to justify age groups.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, for instance, Big's Backyards Ultra, they don't have age groups there. I mean, people say you can do that. Well, what can I do? I can't compete against all those great runners.
So when you go out for a race and you just posted your 22 calendar, which already has over 30 events on it, are you specifically going to win? Is that your motivation? I'm going to go and I'm going to take home some hardware.
Oh, no. Hardware just goes up in my closet somewhere. And I'm not sure people believe me, but, I told people for 3 years that I was going to try and break the M70 world record. Not just the age 70 world record, not the age. I didn't think the age group was anything that could be beaten.
Okay.
But the reason I put that pressure on myself was to put pressure on my training, to motivate it, to give meaning to my training.
Okay.
And achieving that goal of getting the age 70 marathon record was just, so like achieving the goal. I didn't want to hold the record. I just wanted to do it. And that's why it's been, kind of surprising to me that then when I went on ahead to break the age group world record, that there was so much attention. I thought, well, I didn't tell anybody going down there I was going to try and do it. And I thought, well, I'll make a little post on Facebook and maybe a couple of friends will congratulate me. And well, it didn't turn out that way.
So what was the time you were trying to beat? World record between its age group 70 74, correct?
Well, at first, I didn't have that in mind. Just the age 70 record. There's a website that keeps track of single age records.
Okay.
And Ed Whitlock didn't run very fast that year. It was 3 hours and 23 seconds, I believe. And I said, well, I was improving year after year. And I said, by the time I'm 70, if I can just keep improving 3 more years, I might be able to do that. And I ran 2:57 something at Rotterdam. And it wasn't until then that I realized I was only 3.5 minutes away from the age group record. So I tried a couple more times that year and finally did it on the 4th try.
And where was that and what was your time?
The Jacksonville Marathon in Florida.
Nice.
And the age group world record was 2:54.48, and I ran 2:54.23.
And did you know it when you crossed the line that you'd done it?
Oh yeah. I mean, I had started right at the start line because world records are based on gun time, not chip time. And it wasn't until about half an hour later that I discovered that despite what I thought the race director had assured me, he didn't sanction the race. And so without a USATF sanction, it's not eligible for records. So it's unofficial.
Okay. All right. Well, still very special. And darn it.
And as I said, it was just a goal I had.
Yeah.
I'm if I can't beat it again, I'm just a flash in the pan, and who wants to be that? So.
No, that's incredible. It actually is extraordinary. And what I like is that you did it at 70. I mean, somebody's got to have the record, right? But have you become fitter as you've aged?
Well, since I started doing marathons at age 58, I improved for 12 straight years. I really haven't had a chance. I suspect I've slowed down now that I'm approaching 74, but hope springs eternal. At the London Marathon next year, I'll hope to be in shape to give it a go.
Yeah, I hope for you too. I feel pretty good about waging that bet. Now, there's the running side of thing, and what you've accomplished is extraordinary, but my entire life has been dedicated to fitness and trying to encourage people to get up and do something no matter where they are in their life, whether they're a little kid or they're in their 20s or 50s or 90s. And you are that exhibit A of what's possible. And it's interesting when you combine fitness and running, and so many people say, well, I'm in my 50s. I've never run before. I can't. And I looked at your Athlinks profile, and there's nothing listed for you before 2006, correct?
That's right. That's 2000. Boy, I'm surprised there was something in 2006. 2006 was my first race in February or March.
And what instigated that?
Well, I had just started running again a year and a half before or so. I had to take 6 years off from running because of a hamstring injury.
So you had previously been running for leisure and fitness?
Yeah, just leisure and fitness. Sometimes in shape, sometimes not. I just enjoyed running, going out and running into shape now and then. But I fell in with a bad crowd. These guys just talked about racing all the time. They said, run with us and join this race and that race. And finally, actually that first race, I talked my daughter into running a trail race with me, a 7-mile trail race. And it was such a hoot. I mean, I had never done a trail race before, and really hadn't raced since college. And it was such a blast, jumping over branches and rocks and roots, and we had such a good time that basically, I guess one of my driving motivations has been every year I'm going to try and run a little farther on trails. And if you just do that, it's amazing where you can end up.
Well, yeah, amazing. You can end up doing a 250-mile trail race.
Well, I entered a 250-mile trail race. I've completed a 238-mile trail race. So that's the current goal to beat.
It's insanity. And it's the best type of insanity. Literally, while people are saying, I'm too old to walk around the block, I'm in my 50s. And mind, I point out that Brad Pitt is also in his 50s. So 50 has all sorts of connotations there. But you decided, I'm going to go run 238 miles. What the hey? I mean, it's just incredible. It's incredible. Do you have any peers, Gene?
Fears?
Peers.
Yeah. Oh, definitely in ultra running, there are some people can totally trounce me.
And instance, now, grown-ups, not just 35-year-olds.
Yeah, just like a year younger than I am. In that 238-mile race, I might have been able to run an hour or two faster. I didn't have any desire to leave it all out there.
Okay.
But there was another guy, as I say, just a year or two younger, and he beat me by 27 hours. I mean,
oh wow! Kicked your
because
butt.
I don't train for ultras. I'm sure I could do better at them if I just concentrated on a lot of volume. But I just do them for fun, and I just want to be in good enough shape to finish. If it's 1 second ahead of the cutoff, that's great.
So, what is the mindset going from doing 7-something minute miles at a marathon to 30-something minute miles in a trail race? And I think an amateur runner, including myself, someone may freak out over the big differentiation in pace time. How do you rationalize all that? How do you handle it?
Well, there's so many ways to have fun running, and I guess I don't have much trouble switching hats, but they're clearly very different. In a road race, you've got to be able to run as fast as you can for the distance. And the way I approach ultras is just all about finishing. I'm not trying to run as fast as I can, just as far as I can, so to speak. And whereas in a marathon, the suffering is, really, it's only about a half hour toward the end that you're really suffering. Whereas in, say, a 200-miler, I'll usually bonk at about mile 80. That means my glycogen's gone, and it's like hitting the wall in a marathon. And can you imagine running after hitting the wall for 120 more miles?
No.
Basically, that's sort of what it's like. You just have to slow down and run with the energy your body can provide you, and take. I told you at Boston, I said I kind of have one of my new mottos is it isn't always fun doing an ultra trail run, but when it isn't, it's something that's better than fun, and that's taking yourself to the limit and doing something that almost nobody else can do, which is to keep pushing on for 100 miles after you've run out of energy. It's really something that makes you feel good about the sport.
Yeah, I identify with that. I've had a lot of reasons to struggle with fitness over the past couple of years. And no matter how base level I was, no matter how much less fit I was than I'd been previously before the cancer nonsense, I really just like the act of taxing myself, pushing to exhaustion. I think that's a really noble effort. And it's not only good for your body, but I think it's really good for you up here. I think, and injecting that fighting spirit into your life, no matter what's going on, benefits you.
Well, and I've also been able to do this in boring races, but usually when you're out there, there's always something new around the corner. And so it's a voyage of discovery, and you're not only discovering things about yourself, but about the terrain you're running through. So I encourage everybody to get out there every year, just try and run an easy trail race, and then try and run a little further, and you might get hooked.
Yeah.
Morning.
Hey, Mario Zanigo says, you're an amazing inspiration, Jean. I ran my first marathon at age 50 with a time of 3:01, which is fantastic. Hopefully he can be as fast as you. What's your advice for Mario?
I hope he didn't start running hard too early. I started when I was, my first marathon was at age 58, and I got better for 12 years. They say, there's some random quote that it doesn't matter when you start running, you've got 15 good years. So if you want to be able to run like I am when I'm 70, maybe you should hold off 5 more years.
Okay.
But if you want to peak when you're 65, yeah, you've started at exactly the right time.
Okay. And then Rudy Novotny wants to know, what distances did you race in college?
In college, okay, I started out running the 2 mile, the mile, and the half mile, because that's, what I sold the coach on when I entered, because I was a good 2 miler in high school. But I was terrible. I mean, my teammates lapped me, the opponents lapped me. I was of no use whatsoever to the team as a distance runner. So I taught myself to triple jump and do the intermediate hurdles, and I got a lot of points for the team that way. And I still do triple jumping now. Did one in the last couple national track and field races. But just like running, boy, you sure lose a lot of your distance. Well, actually, I've gained distance as an older runner, but I've lost distance as a jumper. So
now, where did you go to school?
Lehigh University, Bethlehem, PA.
Okay, all right. Beloved by many, Lehigh, for sure. Now, which do you prefer, trails or road races?
Well,
if you have to
they each scratch a different itch. I'm competitive, and it's road racing that satisfies that. And trails, when I'm trying to pick out my things I really am looking forward to, it's always the trail races next year. So if I had to choose, I'd go with trail races. Yeah, even though I'm not nearly as good at them as road racing.
That's okay. And
that's what I've always done, though. I've always, since I started running, I would just run whatever races I felt like. And I hired my coach to run marathons better. And I think at first he, banged his head against the wall every time I signed up for some crazy trail race. But we've both come around to the feeling that they don't compete with each other. Trail running gives me a great base for road running, and road running gives me the speed to make trail running, seem easy at the pace I run. So, I'm going to continue to do both every year.
Now, you definitely are up on your feet a lot. Left, right, left, right, left, right. What other things do you do to supplement your training and to keep your body healthy?
Well, sounds like my golf game too. Left, right, left, right. But Pretty much, I just run.
Just run.
People always say, "Gee, you must have a great cross training, and you must have good core and stretching regimes." But no, I mean, I just run. Most dangerous thing I do for my running is gardening, and I go at it a whole hog, and now I've had to have this rule that I never garden a week before an important race, because it leaves me in sad shape. People refuse to believe that golf and bowling are sports at all, so not sure they count.
They do count. They certainly do count, but that's very funny that you have to avoid gardening before an important race.
Yeah, just can really just leaning over and weeding for an hour, that does me in.
So when you go to these big events or small events, you're pretty popular. What's your favorite thing to do with your friends on race weekends?
Let's see. Well, more and more, if I'm going to a new race, I'll even try and look up my Facebook friends and see who lives in the town I'm going to, and that's worked out a couple times. It's I guess my favorite thing is meeting new runners, because they've all got their own stories, and they're there for the same reason I am, to have a great time. And I've learned about a lot of races, talking to people at races, and that's been a real benefit of picking up a bit of fame, is that it's a lot easier to meet people, and sometimes it gets a little crazy. Like at Boston, I went for the warm-up run the day before.
Yeah.
And they were going to go 3 miles or something, and people started lining up for selfies.
Yeah.
And by the time I got through the last one, people were finished with the run. I had to go out and run on my own. So
I was part
I always get a chance to talk with them, and it's always a pleasure.
Yeah, I'm a part of the Boston Buddies, and you definitely had a huge group of people excited to meet you, and it's pretty special what you've accomplished. They also wanted to meet Des. So right now you're in the same caliber of running celebrity as Des and Meb, and then there's Gene.
Well, I'll have to try and get my head around that. It's difficult. I will say, I mean, for instance, one of the most surreal things was after Boston 2019. I did pretty well, set a course record and broke 3 hours. And afterwards, somebody comes up to congratulate me, and it's Joan Samuelson. And I said, wait a minute. I said, she's congratulating me? I mean, she's the most amazing runner, because she's kept at the top of her game, maybe not on an absolute basis, but she had the highest age graded score of all 30-some thousand runners at Boston, and just incredible what she's done. And it just didn't seem right for her to come up and congratulate me.
No,
it felt like an imposter.
That's interesting. You're definitely not an imposter, but you know what I think on marathon day, or even 5K day, whatever it is, there's so much extraordinary stuff going on. I admire the champions so much, our speedsters that come up in the front and think, whoa, how do you go so far, so fast for so long? The whole mindset is just very impressive. But then, it's maybe the last hour of the marathon where you really have your breath taken away. So there's a lot of congratulations to go around. Do you ever stick around to see the final finishers, Gene?
Well, of course, in trail races, I usually am the final finisher.
Okay.
And I remember I saw the final finisher at Rotterdam. They had a sort of a ceremony where the winner of the race congratulated the last place finisher. They have like a ticker tape parade coming down.
Yeah.
Totally different than you'll see at most races, where a lot of people are gone by then. I guess I can't say that I'm exactly at the finish line toward the end of the race. I always in a hurry to get to the food area. People say, "What's your favorite part of the course?" I say, "The food tent." You know, I mean,
Your true reward.
Yeah.
So, on the food topic, what do you eat before you race? Let's say just a marathon.
Marathon day.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll have a sort of a light dinner. It doesn't matter what it is, except not something that's hard to digest. So I won't go out and have a steak or anything. But so it ends up usually being pasta, not because it's pasta, but just easy to digest. And I probably more times than not, I'll have a 150 calorie energy bar.
Okay.
Either very early in the morning or middle of the night. But I won't eat anything before the race. No.
Okay.
If you haven't got it stored in your legs by race day, eating isn't going to help. You don't want anything in your stomach going into a race. That's totally counterproductive, because then your body has to send blood to your, and it's just a low, not a great source of calories. You burn glycogen and fat, and you don't want to have blood going to your stomach. That's why the type of nutrition you do use during a marathon is something that really gets through your system fast. And all my calories now come from Mountain instead of Coke.
Okay, so that's Mario was just asking what your favorite food at aid stations is. Do you carry it with you? Are you the guy who grabs?
I have to carry it with me. I carry these 320 calorie packets, and I'll start out with a bottle full of it, and I'll drink it by mile 8, and then I'll have the other bottle already with the powder in it. Then I'll pour in the water and run about 8 miles with it, and then I'll have to pour in a new packet. I can get in about 1,000 calories that way, and it used to be I couldn't get in more than 150 calories without getting sick.
Okay.
On whatever it was I had, but now Martin just goes right into your system. It really staves off the bunk, so that you can run harder than you've got enough glycogen to carry you through. It carries you through the bunk. Really, it's terrific stuff.
That's a really good testimonial. I think a lot of people will enjoy hearing. Now, you're mixing beverages while running at warp speed?
Yeah, it's unfortunate that, and it can get kind of messy. You're sitting here trying to run and ripping open a packet and trying to dump it in there, it's tough. Once it's in there and mixed, it's okay. I don't mind grabbing it out now and then drinking from it. I don't lose any time that way. But yeah, I'm going to lose 20 seconds going through an aid station to refill my bottle, and that's if I do that 2 times during the race, that's 40 seconds down the drain. But I think Martin can improve my marathon time by 3 to 4 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, easily.
So
it's worth the extra time. And plus, you're getting your water that way, so you're not stopping at aid stations for water. So you might even be close to zero.
That's impressive.
Zero cost.
And what is your favorite running belt to carry all of this stuff?
Well, people ask that all the time, but they keep changing models, and they always take the good models and change them so that they aren't any good anymore. I have an Ultimate Direction 2-bottle belt from about 3 or 4 years ago that I really like a lot. I wouldn't run a marathon with both of them full. That's a lot of weight to carry around.
Yeah.
But so you just have to look at what's currently out there and try one till you find one you like, because to me that's the best way of getting nutrition, is to carry it with you. And if you have to rely on what's at an aid station, then you just have to hope you like what's on offer. And I don't like what they have there at all. Goos and things.
They don't work for you. Yeah. It's a commitment to carry stuff around, but it's important that you have your gear with you. Now, do you have a favorite running watch?
I use Garmin, and I keep getting new Garmins when my old Garmins go away. But it's more like the devil I know than the devil I don't. So every watch seems to have its fans and critics. I like my Garmin, and I'm kind of married to it. I mean, I train watching my Garmin constantly to keep myself on pace, and I race like I train. I'm constantly well, until I reach the point where I know exactly by feel how fast I'm going. But during the first 10 miles of a race, well, I'll look at my watch 100 times to make sure I'm on pace.
Oh, interesting. Now, has anything gone awry during a race? Have you fallen? Have
Has
you?
anything ever gone awry?
Let's hear it.
Oh, yeah. Of course, I've seen more things go awry with some of my fellow competitors, but I mean, right from the starting gun, I've been in races where people fell in the first 10 feet and there were big pileups, and I'd say, "What happened to you?" He says, "I never got out of the gate." So there's that kind of thing.
Oh, question for you.
Hmm.
Rudy and I were talking about this recently. We think the countdown at a start line is very, very dangerous because it causes a surge and people just start to move forward. Your pileups, were they at a race where people were doing a countdown?
Boy, I don't think I've really had any trouble until right after the start line. I mean, yeah, people are surging forward and it's crowded, but you're still not, you're just shuffling.
Okay.
But boy, as soon as you hit that start line, everybody's in full stride, and all you do is, and the most dangerous thing are people on the front line who are slow.
Mm-hmm.
And you're chugging along, and all of a sudden the seas part, and there's this guy right in front of you, and you might run over him. I was convinced for several years at the Broad Street run in Philadelphia that there was a good chance that somebody would die in that race, because they even encouraged old people to get up there at the start line, and you've got it's stampede. And fortunately, I think they've changed the rules there, but
yeah, it's interesting. We at a corral with an honor system, or a start line with an honor system, we always say, listen, if you're going to run a 5-minute mile, right up front, if you're going to go 6-minute mile, right behind. But we know who's capable of doing that 5-minute mile, and it's not you. On occasion there's people who are saying, please scooch back. It's no offense, it's a safety issue, but yeah, it can be dangerous for certain.
Yep, slow people at the start is the most dangerous part of running, I think.
Wow. All right, so what are some other weird things that have specifically happened to you out on a course?
Let's see. I guess because it was recently news, you 2 or 3 times you'll see people who have had a little bit of problem with the brown stuff coming out of their shorts. Fortunately, that hasn't happened to me. In some shorter races, I was kind of in danger of it, and that's just such a terrible. I can't imagine going through a marathon with the need for a movement. It's just
now, Gene,
worst nightmare.
What would your game plan be? Would you stop and use the porta potty, or would you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I'd do if I thought I only had 5 minutes to go for a world record or something. But most of the time, I'd say, oh well, bad preparation, bad planning, and I'd try and find a safe place to, safe place to go.
Okay.
All right. I doubt if I would ever get to the point where that was that extreme that I wouldn't have a porta potty to head to.
Yeah, that would be tough. I was just reading about a woman who's had it happen a few times today, and she had a really good attitude about it. I was impressed. I might be devastated if something like that happened to me, but
yeah, it's one of those things where it's always more awful if it happens to you, because you see it happen to somebody else. You say, oh well, that's running.
Right. So, what experiences have you had? I'm still trying to find
that. I'm trying to think. I know a lot of races haven't. You're talking more about just having a bad race.
No, bad race, weird race. I once put BioFreeze on the top of my thighs. I was running it up, and it got into my crotch, for example. That happened to me mid-race, mid-half marathon. It was it was a bad day.
Oh, all right. So that reminded me of something. I went for a trail run in the Grand Tetons once. My wife insisted that I take some bear spray, and so I bought a can, and I read the directions. The directions looked really top notch. They told you, the warning signs of a bear that looks aggressive and how to aim the can and all that. And then it said, make sure to test it before you run. I said, all right. And, knew enough to aim downwind. So I pressed the button and aimed at something to make sure I had the right fire. The thing is, it wouldn't turn off. And I had to reach on top of the can and try and grab the trigger and pull it. Now I had bear spray all over my hands. And once you get bear spray on your hands, it's going to get anywhere your hands go. You're going to accidentally, wipe your nose, and all of a sudden you've got bear spray on your nose. I don't even want to talk about the first time I had to take a whiz by the side of the trail. So it's, don't test bear spray. That's the take home.
Okay. Only spray it if there's a bear.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I will also vouch for not putting biofreeze in your crotch. I don't recommend that at all. Just, for anyone who's considering it. So we have a couple of questions for you. Mario wants to know what your favorite running shoe is.
Oh boy, I have so many of them. Because I have training shoes for road, training shoes for trail. I've got racing shoes for road, trail, long distance, short distance, muddy conditions. So I just go and look for the best shoe in all those categories. For marathons, I have those Nike shoes that everybody wears on race day.
The ones with the carbon plates?
Excuse me?
The ones with the carbon plates that have...
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they're probably good for a minute or two. If only psychologically, I try not to wear them until the last second, because as soon as you put them on, you say, oh man, am I going to run fast today? Because they feel so terrific. It's just like running light on your feet. And I don't want to lose that feeling. So I never train in them.
Okay.
Try not to warm up in them before the race. Great shoes. For trail shoes, I must have 5 or 6 kinds, and training shoes, I don't know, 4 or 5 kinds there in reserve. So just the Nike shoes for marathons. That's the only real go-to I've got.
What are your top 3 favorite marathons that you would recommend other people do? And you have to only pick 3.
Well, it'd be a surprise to most people. I don't really like big city marathons. I just do them because that's where the competition is. So I'll do Boston every year and New York every 10 years or something like that. But to show up at a race where there are 100 people or 3,000 people or so, it's a little more cozy. Everybody there is out because they love running, and they don't need the big crowds to cheer them on. It's them and the course, and it's a little easier to strike up friendships at these smaller places too. So I'd say my favorite course is always someplace that I've wanted to go anyway. I use that to pick up a lot of places. The Crater Lake Marathon. I always wanted to go to Crater Lake ever since I was a kid. So I learned there was a marathon there. I ran it. Loved that marathon. Death Valley. I'd never been to Death Valley. So I ran the Death Valley Trail Marathon. And wow, terrific race. Either of those are just great fun out west. And don't worry about Death Valley. They run in the wintertime, nice and cool.
Okay.
You run through a couple states and down through a slot canyon. Terrific race. And all the other small marathons I've done, just fond memories of all of them. Hard to pick one out.
Yeah, it would be very, very difficult to choose. People ask, what's your favorite race to announce? I'm like, oh, you're kidding me. It's like choosing my favorite kid. I can't. I could tell you why each one is special, but I like that you pursue athletic adventure and travel. What did you do professionally? What was your job?
I was a computer programmer. So, just sat on my butt all day long. But I loved every minute of it. I retired about when I was 64. So I'd be getting on 9 years now. And, but boy, I loved it. I thought when I retired, I'd be just keep programming, but just stuff that I enjoyed. But I don't know, my to-do list just keeps getting longer and longer. Part of that procrastination problem I told you.
Right.
So it doesn't look like I'll program anytime soon.
And then your wife travels with you. So she was on that cruise to Antarctica you went on. Does she also run?
She doesn't. I tell people that she still works, I play. It's a good deal. But both my daughters run, and they're both pretty good runners. My younger daughter lives in San Francisco. She's run 30 marathons, and she's got her PR down to 3:15.
Wow.
And my older daughter had only done one marathon till this year, and I talked her into a 50K. And she says, "Well, okay, I'll do a 50K, but only if you pace me, because I'm not sure I can make it." She left me so far behind.
Did she?
She ended up finishing 4th overall, first woman, beat me by an hour. And all of a sudden she's hooked. She immediately signed up and ran a 100K and did the same thing, 4th overall.
Wow.
And so she wants me to run a 100-miler with her next year. I said, "I'll pace you the last 50 miles. Obviously, I'm not going to try and keep up with you for 100 miles. So I've got a marathoner and an ultra marathoner daughter. And those are always highlights of the year. And I try and make time to run a couple races each with them every year.
Now, question, since you mentioned her winning overall, have you won any races overall? Have you been the first guy?
Overall, I've come close a couple times. I did win one major race overall, and they announced it that way in Trail Runner magazine. But it was the race for the ages, or Run for the Ages. I keep always forgetting which one. It's one of Laz's races where every runner gets 1 hour for every year of their age to see how many miles they can run on a 1-mile loop. So I was 68 or 66, and I got 66 hours to do as many loops as I could. And I ended up running 205 miles and winning by about 20 miles. So
impressive. What's the longest you've ever run for, time-wise?
Longest, well, that would be the Moab 240, where I ran about 118 hours, something like that.
That's 5 days? Is that 5 days of running?
Yeah, 4.5 days or so. Now, of course, you're not running all the time.
Right.
In fact, I always say running in a big long trail race, because you run when you can, you walk when you can't, and you sleep when you have to. And these endurance runs, they're not stage races. The clock is always ticking. So if you take a nap, you can't take too many of them. And
Sure.
I limit my naps to about 2 hours. The first one will be after 36 hours, and then maybe one every day or two after that, or maybe 1 or 2 a day after that. So that's another skill you have to learn, is managing sleep deprivation in an ultra trail race, because 200-mile race, 100-mile race, you just run 30 straight hours. It's no big deal. But in a 200-mile race, boy, when sleep deprivation hits, it is a truly awful thing. I mean, it's just, your legs can hardly move. Your brain is totally frazzled, and it's a miracle you can make it to the next aid station and grab a little nap. So what you have to do is you have to learn things like taking a little 5-minute power nap. Just lean against a tree or sit on a stump, and that'll get you going for another half hour. Caffeine tablet, that'll get you maybe 3 hours.
Okay.
Aid stations are sometimes 8 hours apart. So if it hits early, you can be in real trouble.
Wow. What goes on in your head? I don't know. That's a long time to be alone with you and your thoughts. Do you listen to podcasts on the go? I mean, what do you do?
Oh, no, I never listen to music during a race. I'll take them on training runs, sure, but a race, I would never want to diminish, the being in the moment during a race. Even during a trail race, when I may be 8 hours, 10 hours all by myself in the wilderness, just me and the mountain lions and the bears. It's yeah, I just love all the sights and sounds, even if it's my own labored breathing.
So you're not making plans for your vacation up here or computer programming or anything else?
Oh, really? No, I guess my mind really doesn't wander much during trail race. I'm just looking at the scenery, thinking about what's coming up and what I've seen so far. It's just such a great experience.
Yeah, you're a very special man, Gene. And I know we have a lot of athletes doing similar things of all ages, but you seem to have it down pat. Going back to the fitness side of things, it's not always about living long. It's also about living well, and you're doing that. And so what words of wisdom would you share to, grown-ups, anyone who's 50 above, who's sitting back saying, I can't? Maybe they're overweight. Maybe they just don't exercise on the on the whole. I mean, you really have accomplished so much. You're such a role model for fitness.
Well, I've seen so many success stories out there. And so, a combination of any one of those and my own attitude with the fact that, running is so much fun once you get over the hump. That's the one thing I tell all beginning runners is there is no pain that's worse than the pain of just starting out. And I think a lot of people run once and say, well, wow, if it hurt that much to run that slowly, what's it going to feel like to run faster? And the answer is it feels better to run faster than slower, because the fitter you get, the better it is. All my easiest marathons have been my record-setting marathons. Because you're running to exactly what you've been trained to do. And it's during training when you're trying to push yourself to new levels that, that's harder.
Yeah.
So you just start out easy, and there are 3 ways to improve. You can improve by going a little faster, a little longer, or a little more often, and just mix those up every week, month, year. Just do one of those 3 things, and you'll look back and say, wow, I can't believe I'm doing this, and now it's ordinary. And I always thought I'd probably reach my limit. And every year, by just trying to do a little more, it was, always amazing, how much more you have in you if you just keep increasing.
I love that. Make the impossible eventually seem ordinary.
And there's so many ways to use running. You can use it as a social thing. You can use it to lose weight. I don't have any knowledge of depression, but a lot of people have pulled themselves out of mental problems by getting out there and running. It's one of the big features of the Back on My Feet charity that one of my daughters is on the board of. And it's there's just so many ways to enjoy running. Find what works for you. Trail running, road running, cross country.
Treadmill.
Yeah. Some people can even enjoy that. I wouldn't cut dead on one, but that doesn't mean it can't be fun for you.
I love the treadmill, but I just love exercise in general. So there's almost no medium that I don't enjoy. As long as my body's moving, I'm fine. But yeah, the treadmill is great when it's raining or when it's too dark.
No, I love out running in the rain. I love running in the dark.
Well, yeah, it's safe. But yeah, I prefer to be outside, and my dog certainly prefers it when I go outside to run as well. All right, so what are you looking forward to most about this year, Gene?
For 2022 coming up?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's let's see. I've got so much going on. I have 4 key races. Remember, I have to satisfy 2 itches. Yeah. So my 4 key road racing events would be the Boston Marathon and the London Marathon. And the 2 track and field championships, the USATF and the World Masters Association. World Masters Association gets me to Finland, where I've never been.
Beautiful.
So that'll be fun. And the other key race is a 100-mile trail race. Every year I have to complete a 100-miler that is a qualifier for Western states. And that's the one I'll attempt. This will be my 3rd attempt there, because the last 2 were well, they weren't canceled because of COVID, but Norway's borders were closed because of COVID. So they keep rolling over my entry year after year. So looking forward to doing that 100-miler in Norway. Now, those are the ones that I'm looking most forward to for competition.
Okay.
But remember, the ones I really look forward to are trail running. And in May, 6 friends and I are getting together just to run adventure runs in southern Utah, in Zion and Bryce and Goblin Valley, Canyonlands National Park. We just every day a new get out there and just run for the fun of it adventure. And boy, I'm really, really, really looking forward to that.
I love it. I love that you're walking the walk. You live that life of athletic adventure, and you clearly let nothing slow you down. And I do think you inspire a lot of people to get moving and do better, be better. Right, Gene? Life's good.
I've talked a lot of people into doing their first 50-miler, and I don't think any of them have regretted my talking them into it. It's, so what if you don't finish? You'll still have had a great adventure no matter how much of it you've done. Just try some of these longer races. They're just so much fun.
That's right. What's the worst that can happen? All right, Gene. So a lot of these people would like to follow you now that they know you. Where can people follow you on social media?
Okay, well, Facebook is easy. Oh, and sort of like a little pet peeve about people who send me Facebook requests. I mean, I get hundreds of them, and I really enjoy, meeting runners this way. But people will send me a Facebook request, and it's not obvious from their profile why I should be their friend. They hide their personal details. They hide their posts from people who aren't their friends. And I just look at them and say, well, I can't be their friend just because they want me. I mean, that's, yeah. So send me a message if it isn't clear. I almost certainly would love to be your friend, but I have to know something about you. I mean, there are certain kinds of posts that people might do that I don't want to see. So if I don't know anything about them, I can't take that chance. So easy to find me on Facebook. Love to hear from you. I answer every question that's sent my way on Facebook. There's another way to contact me or just to see what I've been up to, and that's my website. Oh. My daughter made it for me. It's she did a really great job, and it's ultrageezer.com.
Love it.
Yeah, and you'll find
EEZER.
Yeah, ultrageezer, one word, .com.
Love it.
And, you see past results, schedule. At some point, I'll have a whole bunch of blog entries in there. I have about 10 or 12 that I've been meaning to put on there that haven't made it yet. Probably this interview will be listed on the publicity page. And
good.
And so it's a good resource, just in case you're curious.
Ultra Geezer, and you're on Instagram too. I know this because I tagged.
Yeah, my daughter says I should. Oh, you got to post more on Instagram, Dad. I mean, but I don't know. Never get around to it. So yeah, I kind of use Instagram to post isolated pictures, sometimes about running, more often about vacation or something. But yeah, you can send me a message there. I might see it in a month or so. I always have a hard time. I get these messages on my phone that Facebook, somebody has left you a message on Instagram, and then I can't find it. It's just, to me, it's the most awkward interface I've ever seen.
That's right. Okay. All right. So steer clear of Instagram. Give Gene a break. Reach out on Facebook. Say hello or be obvious. It always helps me if someone's wearing a running outfit. If they have a finish line photo as their profile picture, I can normally accept them as a weirdo. But I keep hitting that 5,000 friend limit on Facebook. It drives me absolutely bonkers. So then I have to go through and systematically try and find people to delete, which feels really, really bad. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard. But I try and look. I try and look through the profile of every person who sends a friend request, and and I found reasons to friend them even if they weren't obviously runners, because they have nice, high quality posts. So you just look and say, well, what would he see in my posts? If he sees nothing but pictures of my kids, hey, you got great looking kids, but why should we be friends?
Right. Yeah. It's you got to be what's discriminating.
I mean, everybody has a different set of things. I'm just warning people about mine. If you're a runner, you're almost certainly in.
That's right. Into Jean's inner circle. Well, this has been super fun, Jean. I'm really glad we got together. Thank you so much for being a guest on my show. I hope to see you at a race soon.
All right. Well, look at my schedule and make sure you tell me if there are any of those you'll be at.
I will. I'll hunt you down. In fact, I may send you suggestions. Come to my races. That's really what's most important, Jean, is you should do a whole year just running the races I announce.
Well, I'm looking here. I've got maybe 4 open weekends left.
No. We're going to reschedule you just so you can run my races. And every time I'm going to give you a very special start and finish line announcement, and you can do a special finish line performance as you cross through it. What is your go-to? Are you a hands up guy?
Oh, no, I don't do somersaults. And I maybe I'll raise an arm, but no, I'm not into big finish salutes. Just try and smile, which isn't hard. I'm usually smiling all the way through all my races. Another thing I'm kind of known for, because I really am having fun out there, and it's been shown scientifically that if you smile while you're running, it helps you power through some of the harder times.
Yeah, I've read that too. I have a hard time not smiling, so I'm with you on that one. All right, mister, I'm going to let you have your day. Thanks again, Jean. And everyone else, follow Jean on Facebook. You can follow me at Fitzness. Go get your annual exam, squeeze your stuff, and we'll see you soon. Get to work, team. Bye.
Well, this is wonderful. Bye now.
Thanks, Jean.